Hey everybody, it's Chad Warren. Hope you're doing good. I just want to do a quick video highlighting a social media response today that deserves it. Here we go, over to Gab, the Christian Trump free speech haven I recommend. Okay, so always independent. Liked my post and responded, and I asked, do you have any opinions on how best to sync our U.S. Constitution with this digital dimension? I'm very let down by Trump for surrounding himself with big tech transhumanist scum. I want there to be a cooperative between anyone who wants to make a stand against techno-fascism, like pre-crime arrests, not letting one conduct business via a payment source due to disagreeing with the leader of state, etc. I fear that they're just going to continue building a replacement for law with computer code, and America will be just a global brand more than run by us. So, like with Trump out there talking about Gulf of America and all this stuff, you're thinking, oh, America is the Constitution and law. But I think Trump's thinking, it's just a brand. It's just another failed enterprise for him to make money off of before it's discarded, in my opinion. I fear that they're just going to continue building a replacement. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. And then always independent replies, I'm just an old fart resisting the matrix as best I can. I buy local and pay cash. I do not buy from woke corporations. If I can't find what I want, I make do or do without. If enough people resist, don't go with what is convenient, but rather what is correct, right, then we will not be controlled. That's certainly true, but I think that's the problem for any of us, is that we have these values, but it's hard to hold up to them. And so that's where you get Christianity separates from Judaism based on this notion. I don't care if it's Sunday, I'm going to help the guy get his donkey out of the ditch. But that's also the mentality of how we come up with 15-minute cities or whatever. Sorry, getting disoriented here. Yeah, so most of us are not disciplined enough to handle like a Amish type of life, although we would aspire to. So I tend to be somebody that is kind of a libertarian, kind of just tries to be in the middle of a lot of things. Like just okay, when you're contrasting convenience versus tried and true values, traditions. All right, so the competition, if you're somebody like me that wants to be on, team nature, team God, team not become the Borg hive, then I am very keyed into marketing because of that. Because I would rather focus on those things, because I think those simple little changes in our life, to look at it all relative. If this is where you are and you just take this one little step to go this way, I'm just more into that kind of gradualism and stuff because I'm oversensitive. So, for example, I'm impressed by how McDonald's, when it's working right, they can handle you coming in there with cash. They can handle all these variations of payment and all the in ways that you pick it up. Do you want it at the counter? Do you want them to bring it to you? Do you want to drive through? So I mean, these corporations are really good about like the 15-minute city idea of getting us into their ecosystem, with convenience. And yeah, and they very, just think about that. Like, as evil as McDonald's may be, man, you have like a company like that knows a lot about how to handle low-skilled labor, hiring and managing people and training and all that kind of stuff, all the way up to like just, what a huge company they are internationally. So but yeah, that's why I like to take that diversified approach to things. And it's also why while yes, I think that America has jumped the shark as far as all this multiculturalism, I am very interested in the ancient idea of that, like the Greek culture, and the Roman culture and stuff, where you're in the they had so many different people living amongst each other in the ancient world as well. Uh, so yeah, that's why I'm interested in Hellenic religion, polytheism, and stuff, or that same vibe. But I respect how all that's also connected to the Christian upbringing a lot more than people may be aware of. So yeah, it's not really helpful, and I do it all the time too. I get triggered by words like Israel and just one way or the other versus the various ways things can be. But here's actually what I wanted to highlight. Yes, they are continuing to build their grid. They, whoever that is, have been at this for centuries. For example, I know now this is where it got interesting, because this is very specific, and I'm like, man, whether it's using an app like Nextdoor or just going to some kind of community meeting at your church or something and talking about stuff, and then that's where people need to be getting their calling and their jobs and all that stuff, because this looks like a tremendous opportunity that we, the people that are against all this scammery, could really jump in here and do a lot of good and make a lot of money. So here's where we focus on the topic of taking care of elderly people. Yes, they are continuing to build their grid. They have been at this for centuries. For example, I know someone who had a stroke 1 to 2 years ago and is on disability. All of his funds are digitized from the government on his health care card. It's all corporate scammery positioned as government. They pay for his assisted living and his Obama phone. They restrict what he can purchase and where he can purchase. They track everything he purchases. He can only purchase from Walmart, CVS, and Dollar General. All places with highly processed food that our bodies can't digest. More recently, his doctors are demanding he buy protein drinks with his food allocation. Have you ever looked at the ingredients? More poison. Yeah, I was just in the Kroger. I'm addicted to breakfast sandwiches. I have a breakfast sandwich maker. Put the sandwich in here and all this, plug it in. And so I bought this Simple Truth uncured hardwood smoked turkey bacon. Good Lord, the amount of freaking packages I had to look through there. And they all, say natural, and then you look and you go, oh, words I can't understand, preservative, sorbate, mumbo, get the F out of here. Then you look on this and you're like, oh, what is this? Turkey, water, vinegar, sea salt, and sugar celery powders. They're just killing you with this. Oh, wait, no, we can't help them save money. Save money. Buying cheap food, getting cancer. What's the true cost? What's the true value? The resistance must start at home, church, school, and homestead. At least grow some food and buy from a local organic farmer. We must be willing to make changes at a personal and local level. One person, one family at a time, one city, one county, one state at a time. We must engage locally. Tear those cameras down like they do in the UK. I do like the sound of that. Get the fluoride out of local drinking water. Check. Limit 5G towers. Man, did you ever see that story where this guy says that he's some kind of expert, and he opens a phone, and he's like, you see that spot right there where there's nothing? That's where the 5G transceiver chip is supposed to go. So he was claiming, I don't know if this is true, but that, like, this phone I bought's 5G, which was stupid. I wish I had the one, I still have the one before it that has the old school headphone versus the Bluetooth and all that. But, yeah, good Lord, I cough and my brain just falls out. Man, my roommate was losing his short-term memory this morning too. I wonder. What was I saying? The phones. Oh, the 5G towers. Yeah, I don't know if it's true, but the guy claimed that there's not even a chip in the tower, but that when you pay, what you're paying for is the development of the network. You know, and just while we're on that note, like I was saying earlier, it is a super hassle to be a legitimate person and really consider both sides of any topic, because I sure believe, you know, my gut says EMF is a threat, but it's the same with the food discussions. As much as I'm passionate about those topics, man, it's tough. Because, for example, there's a tower right next to this place, right? But I had a job testing cell signal. Anybody can use these, you know, testing apps that you get on the phone, for starters. But actually, that tower is broadcasting like a straight line away from it. So I think it's fairly shielded here close to the house. And then last I remember looking at that topic about 5Gs, it was more about they were going to, I don't know how much of that is on those actual towers, because I was hearing that they were going to be putting smaller units in residential areas. See, all these concepts are super specific. Like, okay, right now, let me check here. I need to have my data off because I'm at home, because I have this AT&T Internet Air, right? $50 a month or whatever. It's right over here, and just think about it, right? You just get this little box in the mail, okay, and then. So it's a transceiver, right? It's receiving a signal and then it's sending it out locally. Now, I don't know. But I mean, if you really want to play these games, you have to be a scientist. Meaning, I would have to have a legitimate EMF meter for the purpose of measuring that. And then I have a gut feeling that if, like, I'm using this phone, it's just using Wi-Fi versus the cell signal, that's probably better in terms of EMF toxicity to humans. Just that, because I remember years ago looking at things of like, that's why originally you put the phones on your hip, because just that tiny little bit of difference makes a big difference. Talking on the speakerphone versus having, so just that mentality of like, separating all those concepts out, being able to make those divisions in the long, deep thought of it in the long run, as well as just quick decisions without thinking about it, that skill that we need. Did anybody hear? Was there any truth to this claim that smart meters started fires in LA? Speaking of 5G, outlaw smart meters, change voting laws. Yeah, well, now see, now voting, I'm almost like, that's a perfect example because, okay, I'm in the bank just earlier. I transferred child support money from my account to somebody else's account. So, I've been in there zillion times, do that every month. And I just noticed for a second, oh, this is a new guy, and so that's what keyed me into it more. So anyway, he's writing physical receipts. You got to write a receipt for the withdrawal, then you got to write another receipt for the deposit. And I just noticed, holy shaz butts, this bank, all banks, the banking system is using ancient paper logs redundantly to all the digital logging. That should tell you everything you need to know about the future in tech. You want both. You want both. You want the what you want and what you don't, and you don't want what you don't want from the old and the new and whatever. It's just crazy. So the idea of 15-minute cities and what, how is this going to be handled? This synchronization between the U.S. Constitution and big tech, which is all up Trump's butt. So I think it's really irrelevant whether you agree with Trump or not. I think we should, just like happened yesterday with the thing about one of those big tech jerks, I can't remember, Thiel, one of them pushing the mRNA shots that flopped. So we should help a lot more of this flop. And because as far as voting goes, while on the one hand, yes, I really like the idea of traditional voting, on the other hand, I think, why in the world should we let it continue to where you have this social media, right? So it's already to the point to where if you threaten President Trump or if you do this, that, and the other online, you can get in big trouble, right? Well, where's the other part? Where's all the benefits? I want the benefit of I never have to go to a physical office again if I don't want to. I would like the office to be there if I do to pay taxes locally or to vote and all that stuff. Why shouldn't? What is the point in just getting this? The powers that be, they get to gather data every day on how we respond to these news stories, but we don't have a lot of. We don't have any centralization of our different opinions on this side. And that's really what we need. We need cooperation. That was the whole concept of America, is merit and having all these people work together. And we, the people, are supposed to be the government. So, be like Tennessee, ban chemtrails. The top-down model belongs to the cabal. Okay, so let's get rid of this federal government. I mean, it almost is like that's kind of how it is going. It's kind of like the federal governments of the U.S. or any of these nations is like a corporate private thing, and then only the state governments remain. That's what it is, because traditionally, isn't it true that there's more power for the Republican Party in the state and local level versus the Democrat is more federal? There you go. And then you got RFK, and all the people came along with the Trump win because really Trump and RFK and all those people were 90s Democrats. It's just swung so far to nutland with that fake left and that whole, they made all that stuff. No, that's problem, reaction, solution. There's no seriousness about those strategies. Yes, there are goals to hit, right? but they know that it's going to be unpopular, and then they're just going to change it all back to this Trump zone for this time. How do we need to either merge the Constitution with this online world, or we need to just say, okay, it's only the tards, the normies that are just going to continue until they die out thinking about the Constitution. Because in reality, it's like the way cell phones were used and implemented in Asia and Africa or any of these third world places, to where they didn't even have existing very good traditional wired phone systems, right? So they just started using the cell network and putting all the emphasis on that. That is more the model for how things take over from the old way. It's not a complete battle, like that's how they want to frame it with politics. Oh, Trump won, so you're good. No, that's not really the way things work. Is you just get together with your people and you go in the direction that you want to go. In that old world that just dies. There doesn't have to be a formal turn it off, or you know what I'm saying. This to me is the mentality of the people that do run both the old and the new system, like this topic about the 14th Amendment and how now that Trump's in and they reversed this birthright citizenship, but it's, and I really agree with a lot of that point of view, that when LBJ did that, it was not really according to the intent of the law. But my point is that if you're celebrating all these executive actions that President Trump took last term or this term, then you're not really for the Constitution, because that's not really how that's supposed to be done. See what I'm saying? It's any kid that's played Magic the Gathering, or anybody that's a lawyer understands that, or a cop or any of that stuff should, in my mind, understand. It's like the same person that makes the law breaks the law. The cop is there to protect the rich people and to protect professional criminals by catching all the little loser criminals and then pretending like there's no crime. Thank you very much.